Hey y'all, I'm Jess Birkin here with Megan Xavier. We are back for part 2 on our how to set up paid consultations using Acuity video. So in the last video, if you haven't checked that out, go check that out now because it talks about the nuts and bolts of actually how to set up your appointment types and payments and all of that. And where we didn't talk about yet is the fee agreements, building that in, and all of the sort of confirmation and reminder and follow-up emails. Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Miss Ethics.
I'll start with the fee agreements part. Yeah. So we've heard from some people that they're worried that if you have a paid consultation, that somehow you're forming more of an attorney-client relationship than you were if you did it free, which that really has no bearing. But
I know that.
Yeah, but the concern seems to be that now you're stuck with this client, right? You've already taken some of their money and you've had this consultation, and so does that mean you're stuck with them if they, continue on and continue to come back to you with their legal problem? You're not. You can set the terms of your fee agreement on your consultation, and you can do it right in Acuity. Part of the booking process can be agreeing to the terms and conditions of the consultation. So basically your fee agreement. And that fee agreement can be pretty short, pretty simple. It's just, this is only for a consultation. This doesn't constitute an agreement to provide ongoing legal advice, those sorts of scope limitations. And so they can just agree to that when they're booking and when they're paying, and that governs your consultation.
Yeah. And Acuity has actually the ability to use forms. So if you want someone to tell you any specific information before the consultation, you can have drop-down menus, multiple choice, fill in the blank. And one of those things, I use a very small intake form with a fee agreement, and it's just right in there, and they have to check the box that says, I have read and agreed to these terms, and then they type in their name. So it's sort of like a e-signature compliant way of getting it done right in the system there. You don't have to have any other fancy paperwork.
No, you
It
don't.
all happens right in there. And actually in their confirmation email, which we should talk about next, I guess, is they get a copy of what they signed along with their form fields that say they checked the box and here's their name. So they get a copy of their agreement right in their confirmation email.
And another way that you might have Acuity utilized is if you have an answering service or a receptionist who might be booking some of your consultations for you. I do that a lot. A lot of my clients come to me by having called the office, and my service will end up booking the appointment. So they just actually go on my website and walk the client through the form. And in doing that, they read to them the fee agreement and get their acknowledgement of the cancellation policy. And also that can be done as well.
Yeah, so if you're using Ruby Receptionist or any other call service, I'm sure they can do that for you. I know I was considering a answering service for a while, and they would have happily gone to the Acuity website and just walked the person through the form, taking their payment over the phone. The whole thing can be outsourced. You don't have to necessarily be the one to do any of this. And that's one of the things that's really great about Acuity is it has the ability to automate those follow-up emails. So they immediately get a confirmation email, which if you had an answering service, it would just email the client with a copy of everything they just agreed to.
And that's just automatic from Acuity.
Yeah, just you set it up in the back end, whatever you want it to say. So if you have, like Megan uses an intake form, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
right, I put a link to my intake form in that confirmation email. So the form isn't personalized, it's just a blank intake form, so I never have to change that link. When I first set up Acuity, I had my intake form, which is actually housed on another site. I grabbed the link, put it in that confirmation email template, and never thought about it again. And every client gets it automatically. 99% of them fill it out. I get a copy of their intake form, but I don't have to worry about it at all. It's just in that confirmation email.
Yeah, one of my favorite follow-up emails that Acuity offers is the reminder email. And you can have one reminder, you can have multiple reminders, you can define, I want it to come 36 hours in advance, 12 hours in advance, whenever you want. Then they get a reminder saying, hey, don't forget, we're meeting tomorrow. Here's directions to my office. with
Yeah, you
pictures
customize all that.
or a link to Google Maps. You can like put whatever you want in there. I do virtual meetings and phone meetings and in-office meetings, so the world is your oyster.
And that also, you know, like we had talked about in one of our other videos, it cuts down on no-shows to even charge in the first place. But using an online system like this really helps people remember. And I don't know about you, but for me, they're not usually booking too far out anyway.
Right. Well, and you can limit how far out they can book.
You can.
You can actually say nobody gets to book more than 3 weeks in advance, or nobody can book sooner than 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Well, mine said nobody can book today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no bookings, no same day bookings.
No.
That just will mess you up. Like you got to give me at least 48 hours to get that on the calendar.
Yeah, exactly.
What else should we talk about?
And then you know what else the Acuity can do is a follow-up email.
Oh, yes.
So after your appointment is over, there's another email that you can choose whether to use all of these or none of these. But you can choose to have a follow-up email, which is something that I just set up today, and I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So my clients have not been receiving a follow-up email after their consultations, but they will now. And in there will be a link to provide feedback, because that's something that I want to be doing more of, is getting feedback from my clients.
Right. So how did we do? Did you get what you expected? Would you recommend us to a friend or a colleague? Scale of 1 to 10. If you're trying to measure some key performance indicators, that's a great way to do that. And if they loved your service, then you can simply ask them to review you on Google, which it just ties everything together in a great big marketing bow.
It does. Aaron Gerstenzang and Guy Sakalaki
I know,
would be proud of us.
Yes, where's Guy? Guy would be so proud. So that's pretty much it for our little series on Acuity here. You should be charging for your consults, and
it's not that hard. Don't be intimidated by setting it up.
Yeah.
It's really just not that hard at all.
If you have questions about it, you can find me on Twitter at Jess Birkin, and if you've got
I'm
ethics,
on Twitter at Xavier Law, so feel free to shoot us questions.
Yeah, if you're worried about your ethics situation, let this one know. If you're worried about your technical implementation, let this one know.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.